You want to start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you so much for your time to interview me today, and I'm really happy to be here. My name's Annie, and I'm currently working at an AI company called Hive, and it's an enterprise AI company that we provide mostly content moderation API services, but we also have a lot of adjacent products. And the product I'm in charge of, which I'm the product lead on this product, is called AutoML. And what we're doing is building a platform to help users to customize their models based on their data set and deploy on our cloud service to let them use our API seamlessly. And I basically started this project from 0 to 1, and I built from a concept and launched to production and onboarded multiple big customers within 1 year and have driven more than 10 million annual recurring revenue for our company by this new product. And before I came to Hive, I interned at multiple places as product manager, including TikTok, Tencent, and also I interned at somewhere as software engineer as well. And I graduated from CMU with a Master of Software Engineer degree, and undergrad was at UC Davis with a double major in design and CS. And my experience at Hive covered all of my technical skills as the product I'm in charge of is a pretty technical AI product. And it also covers my design skills I learned at school, which because it's like a platform product, I have to design the entire user flow, but I also need to design the API process. And yeah, that's just a brief introduction about what I have done and what I'm doing right now. I'm happy to dive into any questions you may have.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting that you are working on a platform product. Can you talk more about what is your understanding of like the difference between platform being a platform PM versus maybe consumer or like other enterprise product?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, so I'll divide this question into two parts. The first part is to differentiate platform product from all the other enterprise product. And the second part is to differentiate platform product from consumer product. And I think as for platform versus all the other enterprise product, is that so there are three different kind of enterprise product. The first kind is uh like SaaS product, like software as a service. And usually we define SaaS product as a um completely software without any like coding behind. And then the second part is like platform as a service, which means like we have some API codes, but we also have another product. And the third part is usually like infrastructure as a service. And for those products, it's usually more infra. So if you let me to distinguish it, I'll distinguish from three different parts. The first part is like the target customer part, and the second part is product strategy part, and the third part is product positioning part. So I think for the first part as customer, for software as service product, it's really serving people who doesn't have any like technical background. For instance, it might be HR service like Gasto or Rippling that they totally serving HR, or it might be for sales or marketing department. But for platform product, which is the product I'm working on, the target user we're serving for is really the um data scientist, machine learning engineer, or software engineer in the company. And they usually have technical background, but not specifically for the area I'm working at. So I have some specialization for my product, which for my product is machine learning. And data scientists can use their data to come to my platform and train a model without any code, but they can also integrate the API into their platform. So they need some coding experience, but they probably don't have coding experience in my specific area. So like the target user I'm serving for are people who have technical background, but not that much in my specialization. And for infra, they are serving like specifically people who are like in this industry, like DevOps product or machine products that they need to run and do machine stuff. And that's from like the customer perspective. And from product perspective, because I'm designing specifically for people who have technical experience, but also not specialized in my area. So I need to make sure my product has more technical aspects in it. For instance, I need to integrate all of the API endpoints to expose that to users, and I need to like expose all of the dashboard. But maybe for software products, you don't have to expose anything. Like they only need to expose the HR service or the interface that user needs. And from like product strategy is also like slightly different. We are both we're both, so for enterprise it's really either bottom up selling or top down selling, and for infra it's really pretty top down, and also for software it's also pretty top down. But for my product it's really both top down and bottom up. We need to make sure the user has good experience, but we also need to make sure that the CEO and CTO do think we have a pretty good package. So that's my understanding of like the difference between all the other enterprise products by the definition of my platform product. And with consumer products, it's actually fairly easy, is that we have the sales aspects in our product, and we do need to sell to big customers. But for a consumer product, it's probably like different target of group people.
Interesting. And what do you think is the difference regarding to product management skill set?
That's also a great question. So I think from my perspective or my understanding of consumer product, compared to consumer product versus enterprise product, is that for me, our users are pretty straightforward. We only have like couple big enterprise that we need to like focus on. So we don't have to do a lot of like for consumer, you have to do a lot of A/B testing. You need to analysis a lot of the data that user are clicking on your platform. And for us, we care more about the information we're displaying to users. So we don't care that much about hidden any information to make sure the platform looks like very aesthetically good, but we care more about like showing all of the information. And another thing is that as enterprise product, because you want to show as much as information you can to all the technical people so that they can have enough information to integrate that to their platform. And for this part, you have to be fairly technical to understand your users and to understand what they want to use, what their journey is. So being technical is also pretty important. And you also need to make sure that as a platform product, you care a lot about the technical non-functional requirements. For instance, you need to make sure your system is available 24/7, and you need to make sure that your system has a pretty good architecture that can serve a large volume of trainings. And that's a part that's very different from consumer product, that you probably don't have to be that technical doing like consumer product. And I think the second thing is that as enterprise product manager, you need to really have both engineer mindset and sales mindset in your mind. So probably for consumer product, you don't have to think from sales perspective at all. But from enterprise product, you need to think from sales perspective in terms of like, you need to know the pros and cons of your product, and how do you maximize the pros to your enterprise customers and minimize the cons when they try to test the product. That's also the thing that you have to consider a lot. Yeah.
Can you tell me a story or talk about an example where you decide whether a feature should exist on your platform? Because you on your resume you mentioned you have like multiple customers, so I'm wondering like how do you come up with product requirements and decide whether it should be on your platform?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so I do want to like talk about the background of my product a little bit more in terms of like how that exists in my company. So basically my product, when I joined, it's actually like just a concept from my CEO that they think some of our enterprise are complaining that they want more from our models. And because we don't have like that customized platform for them, so we cannot like train more heads or train more like categories with this model for their specific request. So we came out this idea of product, and that's why they hired me to completely in charge of this product. And when I just joined, I took this concept with the customized training model in mind, that I list out 3 modules that I need to design for my customers. I think that's another thing that's really important for enterprise product manager, is that you really need to have that modular thinking. And I designed 3 modules. They are training, deployment, and data set. And we actually have a couple customers are waiting for this product to test. And for my initial design, I designed the whole scope out, and I discussed with my engineering manager and my CEO. And it actually came out, my initial design with 3 modules. It's very complete, but it's actually has like a lot of technical difficulty, and it's gonna cost 5 months instead of 2 months. So we want to like ship as soon as possible so we can go into market and test with our customers. So I decided to cut 2 modules down, which is deployment modules and dataset modules, to only keep the training module, which is the key factor of our product. So the initial version of our product is that user upload a dataset, start training, and start deployment, and that's it. There's only 1 page, and the entire process are only 3 buttons, and which is like super easy to use, super minimal, but we will be able to deliver within 2 months. And I think that's probably the best decision I ever made in my entire product manager career experience, which I probably don't have that much, but I did learn a lot, that it's very easy to add features in our product, but it's really hard to cut features when it comes to a timeline pressure. And that's good, as in we can ship within 2 months. And after we shipped, all of our assumptions are not assumption anymore, because we can go into customers and test with customers. And we got a lot of valuable feedbacks of how the customer want dataset management page to be, how the customer want like how the training experience to be, how customer want more evaluation to be. And we got that, and we shipped that in an iteration manner very quickly after the first version has been out. And that has proved a concept of our product, that there are really users want to use it. So it's not a fake pain point. It's definitely a pain point, because we onboarded 2 customers right away after we shipped it. And that also proved the concept of that the modules we cut are also what users want. So we just add those back as backlog afterwards. Yeah, so that's how we made decision, first of all, based on engineering effort. And secondly, after we go to market, based on customer feedback. And everything are based on either customer feedback or the return of investment of the technical effort and trade-offs between them.
On a like daily basis, how much or how frequent do you use ChatGPT?
So my company has their own language model, so I do use my company's language model so that I don't have to pay for ChatGPT. But like for my company's language model, I probably use it. I don't use it that often. I only use it for dataset creation, or for some like coding creation, probably like 5% of my job, or like even less than that. Yeah.
Then let's say if you are a startup founder and you want to leverage LLM to create a startup, what problem do you want to solve?
I want to leverage ChatGPT to create.
Or any language model. Just assume that you have the best capability for your LLM and you don't have any technical issue. Now you are thinking about what is the problem, like the user problem you're trying to solve, and what is the user scenario that you want to create using your LLM, and what product do you want to build.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think I personally think about this problem a lot. And I do think I have a different opinion from general public opinion about large language model that currently like very viral in the market. So from my opinion, I don't think large language model is like it's AGI yet. I think it's far away from that yet. And so in my opinion, if I need to do something using large language model, I have to do it very vertically because large language model as is still pretty far away from AGI. So I do think it's highly dependent on the data set that they fine tune or prompt tuning using large language model. And if you want to have a very good prompt tuned large language model, then that means you have to go deep into a vertical. And in my mind, I think this vertical is not in the tech industry, but more in the traditional industry, including healthcare and education. And if I have to like build something to solve using large language model, I do feel like there are a lot of opportunity in healthcare industry. And here's our reason why. And healthcare industry has a lot pinpoint that can be solved by large language model. First pinpoint is that they are a high cost industry that when they do drug delivery or a lot of other experiment, they have to waste a lot of resources in order to simulate one best use case. But those simulation can actually be done by large language model or like by AI. And second is that healthcare industry is also a very high operation or high consultant industry. By consultant, what I mean is that they leverage a lot human resources instead of leveraging technology. And what product manager is doing is basically to convert consultant work into a repeatable product so that we can cut a lot of the cost for healthcare. So, and the third thing is that healthcare is also an industry that they don't have a lot of technology to leverage, like technology resource to leverage. They are very far away from all the engineers. Like I never heard any engineers are actually working very deeply into a healthcare hospital or like into a healthcare lab. So I do think for large language model, the very large benefit of it is that it can go deep into a vertical and customize a model using that. And so if I can do anything with large language model, I probably want to like do an AutoML platform to help healthcare company to prompt tune their own large language model without any coding. So they can go to a platform and drag and drop their data set into the platform and tell the large language model that, hey, I want to build a model to help me simulate this drug delivery instruction, and I passed in all of my past data for this drug. Can you help me simulate it? And large language model will help them prompt to a healthcare model just specifically to their use case and ship that to them. And I can see a lot of use case in that. And that's one thing I really want to like leverage large language model for the traditional industry. And I do think there are a lot of opportunities there.
Mhm. Um, can you talk about a specific product, maybe like not a platform, but a specific use case where you see that a large language model can be utilized? And also, I would want to hear you out about your go-to-market strategy too. If you do have this startup, how do you want to sell your product to healthcare facilities?
So you want me walk through the MVP for this product, or like, do you think you want me to build like a consumer product for this?
It's like either way is fine. I just want to know the user flow that you were talking about. Like so far you talk about you want to solve the for example simulation scenario.
Mhm.
But you can walk me through like what is the user experience look like and like how like healthcare workers will adopt your new product instead of their original process.
Got it, got it. Okay. Yeah. So I can walk you through about how I imagine this product can be. So I imagine this product will be a platform, as I said. So it will be like either a website integrated in their own, because you already hospital have their own system, so integrated in their system as like a assistant, and they will go on this platform. And healthcare has a lot of different use cases. They have drug delivery, and lab simulation, and they also have some like operation requirement in terms of like taking notes and summarize the notes for their patient summarization. And they also have so like the patient requirement, which is like take patient's record and to help them do some analysis. And so they will come to my platform. I'll have all the different use case listed as a home, not the homepage, but like the first step. And they need to choose one use case that they want to like use AI to help them for. Like for instance, they chose drug delivery as a use case. And after they chose the drug delivery, what I need from them is that I need them to tell me the instruction of like what kind of drug delivery that they want to do. And also they need to give me the data that they need to do. And they chose the drug delivery now. And the second step, I'll need to tell them what I need. And the interface will be after they chose the drug delivery, I will show them a message saying that, hey, now I will need your data for this drug and your instruction of how you want to do the simulation. And they can pass me a file, upload me a file, and tell me the instruction of the lab requirement that they want to do. And after that, I would just take it and process it on the back end in terms of like take the data to the prompt tuning process and customize the model for them. And after the model has been done, they will go to a separate page. And that separate page is like a model page. And that model page has all the model specs for them. And but as the hospital workers, I don't think they'll care about the model specs, but they will care more of using the models. So once I have the model for them, I will show them the result of the model in terms of like the simulation result of like which one is the best drug delivery that we have capable of, and what's the next step after that they should do is that they should like try to use those 3 different simulation we gave them to them and to try in the real life for that. And that's basically like the minimal journey for that, is that they tell me the instruction, pass me the data, and I give them the model back and they start using it by like looking at the result and apply that into the real life lab.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
since let's assume you're a startup founder building this product, what will you do to make you like the best position or like the startup that for the healthcare facilities to adopt your product? Can you talk about like if you are a startup founder, then what is the competitive advantage that you want to build?
Yeah, so I do think healthcare industry is like, as I said, it's a pretty traditional industry. And for the product I'm building is definitely like an enterprise product. I think the first step I will do is that I will connect with a lot of like consultant company, as all the consultant companies are serving for the healthcare industry. And by connecting with consultant industry is that will help consult the value we're providing is that we'll give them a very good deal in terms of like if they use our product with their clients, then we can take some commission, but that commission can be very minimal. And then they take our product to one of the strategy if they're like company are asking for this. So I think the first thing I will do is to establish some partnership with the consultant firm to make sure I find the right customers. And once I did that, I'll work with the consultant firm and to collect some user feedback in terms of like if we have the right use case or like if they need more use case and if we need to add more features in it, and we'll just like keep shipping it. And I do think our competitive advantage here is that we have all the engineer resources that healthcare industry don't have. So it will be very hard for them to implement this And the second thing is that we can help them to customize their models based on their own data set. And I think that's very big leverage for them.
Mhm. Do you have any question for me? Just assume that I am the interviewer for whatever company that you want to interview.
Oh, uh, yeah, I'm curious to learn for the last question. What would you build with large language model?
What else?
Um,
Just
uh,
testing you out here. I'm not gonna answer your question, but just testing out if I'm the like real interviewer for your interview, or what question will we ask?
so usually I'll ask for like the team structure and like how many PMs are there, engineers, and how teams collaborates. But I guess it's not really applicable in this scenario. So I'll also like I probably gonna ask like if I'm interviewing for like the large language model for ads, I probably will ask them how do they think about Gen AI will change the ad industry and like their product strategy, and are they trying to sell the Gen AI as a separate package, or are they trying to use Gen AI to cut the cost because it's two different strategy, or are they trying to use Gen AI to increase the current user retention? Like what's the ultimate strategy there? And yeah, but I guess I don't know. I think I'll probably also ask like, do they have different opinions with current market opinions about AI and large language model?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you think about your interview?
I don't really like my answer about the last question because okay, because I think it's pretty different from okay, I think I have like a lot more good idea, but I probably didn't like think through about it.
Mhm.
And also I don't think it's a lot like very product driven. So yeah, I do have like some other ideas, but I probably like didn't think about it very long.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, but besides the last question, I think all the other ones are like pretty general behavioral questions. Uh, yeah, it's pretty expected.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things about an experienced product manager. Like because you just dive very deep into your day-to-day work, so like barely do you think about like brainstorming about new products or like the product in the market. So like if there's an interviewer that just suddenly asks you a product design question or like what's your favorite product kind of question, you kind of like shock at first, but then like you start to recall what was the interview techniques. Definitely spend more time on it and improve your like answer for like just like pick 2, 3 products that you feel comfortable to talk about, and prepare like what do you want, like what do you like about those products, and if you want to improve those products and what do you want to improve on. So yeah, I agree with you. The product question is not as expected, and for the 32 audiences beside us, Andy has a better mock interview on blibly.com, so you can check out her video last year, and you can see she can understand, she can answer the product system interview way better last year. Okay. So from the beginning, I do like your self-introduction. I like your communication a lot. It is very structured, it's very logical. And when you talk about your past experience, you started very clearly about what you are doing right now, because this is pretty much the longest time or like the real like full-time experience you have. So like you started from where you are, what you are doing right now, and you like talk about your experience or the product that you are building right now pretty clearly. So I do like your self-introduction. Apart from that, you also did a very good job talking about the difference between like platform product versus enterprise product. And you have a very clear structure talking about SaaS, platform as a service, and infra as a service. So that is really helpful. And for the product management skill set question, you were pretty point on like consumer products having more like experimentation skills, well, enterprise product might need to focus more on engineering plus sales mindset. So these are really like, I really like your answer here. Some of the feedback I have is, first, when you talk about your experience, and when you talk about like PM skill set or the product that you're building, you're talking from a very objective perspective. You're not selling yourself. Like, this is an interview. Okay, like, you have to sell yourself. For example, like when I asked you about the product management skill set that like are like very typical for platform PMs, you could talk about like, even like you could talk about the stories or like examples that you dealt with in the past years, right? Like, as a platform PM, what are the stories that you actually show that you have this PM skill set, right? As an interviewer, I don't really care what is the exactly difference between a platform PM skill set. I've probably asked this question to like 100 candidates, right? I already know the answer pretty well. I can also go to LinkedIn and check some articles talking about difference, right? I don't need to get an answer from you. What I really want to get from you is your story and your evidence to prove that you have the skill set, right? So when you are answering those questions, make sure that you are selling yourself and you are telling a story and you're persuading me why you are the best hire, right? And then when you talk about, when I ask you, how do you decide whether a feature should exist on your platform? You talk about like trade-offs, and you talk about prioritization. But I think your answer will be a lot better if you also talk from a product strategy perspective. Because as an interviewer, I probably don't have enough knowledge about your company. And as a startup, or as a unicorn company, you should be very clear about what is the competitive advantage of your company, right? So out of all, maybe for example, right, the 3 modules that you talk about, why do you keep training on the platform as the first MVP? Right? You could start from a product strategy perspective. So from an interviewer perspective, I could know that you have strategic thinking and you are ready, not only for a product manager, but I can see like after 1 year, you can be promoted to a senior product manager, right? Like, that's what I'm really looking for from your answer. You did do a very good job talking about a story. It's very clear, very understandable. But also, if you want to make it a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5 answer, talk more about the strategic perspective. And when you talk about prioritization, you pretty much only talk about engineering effort and your timeline, which is clearly not the only criteria when you do prioritization, right? When it comes to go to market, what is the killing feature that you can keep your customers to using your company's product, right? And what is your advantage that you are at the right position to provide that feature? Right? These are the things that I want to know from a product perspective. TPMs can also do prioritization, right? That's not a PM's like totally PM job. What you want to tell me is why, from a strategic perspective, it makes sense, and also why it is the feature to build. So talk more about that. And when I ask you about why do you want to look for a new opportunity, don't complain about your current company, okay? Like, you could talk more about how sexy the new opportunity is. So, for example, and also it is very tricky when you talk about people issue at your company. It is very understandable because like all the startup companies, they don't invest enough in education and mentorship. It is a very common issue in startups. But you could also frame this question as why you are the opportunity that I'm looking for, right? That will put you in a better position as an interviewee. And talking about your product question, first, I was asking about, like, for example, go to market, and I specifically asked you about competitive advantage, right? You talk about, you answer this question, sounds like you're the only like software company providing this service. Like, you want to tell me like there are so many AI companies out there, right? Like, if I'm really a very mean interviewer, the next question I will give you is why like a healthcare worker cannot just train their own GPT on the using ChatGPT, right? and you want to enter the healthcare industry, you have to tell me the data privacy issue, right? The regulation issue, right? These are the things that you want to consider before entering the healthcare industry. And how to, and also it is an enterprise product. So you want to start from like the more customers you have trying out your first MVP, the larger market that you can consume, right? So like this is the strategy to build up your competitive advantage. And if you go more like strategic, then you put yourself at a very good position to answer this question. And also I have a question about why do you want to build a platform instead of a single product? And I think if you spend a little bit more effort to talk about that thinking process, that will be more helpful. Yeah, but I think overall the product question is just your lack of training and you're like on your job for too long and you're not preparing for interviews that much. But I do like your community. I don't think like as an interviewer they will like think that you're not qualified or anything. But I think when you're talking about your behavior question, you could have like sell yourself better. And yeah, but I can see your like capabilities and skill set, but you could like tell the story in a more compelling way.
Yeah, makes sense. Those are like great feedback. I think I just like haven't mocked for so long.
Yeah, I
I did better in my real interview.
yeah,
And also
that's why I can relate that much. And always like my first interview, after like so many years not taking interview was like always disaster. So just like spend some time and think about it. It's not difficult for you.
yeah.
Any other questions from you or from the audience?
I do have another question. So, I have always been thinking like when the company asks you like why are you looking for a new opportunity, should you be like honest with them about all the problems that your current company have, or like what should you do? Like, because I think it's pretty tricky. Like if you answer it right, it can be very right. But if you answer like slightly wrong, it can be have a lot of red flags that interviewer can assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, from my perspective, like I like okay, like I like my current company, but as I said, like to be honest, it's just like startup has startups problem.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think you can like frame it as a startup has started problem, but also the company that you're interviewing with is not a typical big corporation either. So if you're talking about like startup lacking of like PM education, maybe that company doesn't really have PM education either. So that's kind of like tricky to say. I could like use my answer as an example to you when I interviewed them. So what I was talking about is so, like some of the like operation related issue. So for example, right now I also start from I do like my job here right now. Plus I served this manager like during my first year at LinkedIn. So this is my second time coming back to her team. So I do have a pretty good and like deep trust with my manager. So my manager like give me a lot of scope, that the scope has a lot of influence at LinkedIn. Those are really nice. But deep down, I'm a more entrepreneurial person. And I do not want to lose this AI opportunity and work on the AI product. But right now at LinkedIn, I don't have the best position to do that because team shifting is more complicated right now for me. So I do want to like look for another like a product in another area. That was my answer. And yeah, so basically like you're not hurting anyone. And also like from logical perspective, it makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah. And also I think like when I answer a lot of these questions, I kind of didn't sell myself too much. It's because this is like not a real interview and we're like on recording. I had some confidentiality issues with my current job. So, but yeah, I'm sorry if it's like not that useful for the audience, but I feel like JJ's advice is really good advice. So take her advice more serious and don't take my mock too serious.
For anyone who is interested in signing up for as our interviewer or interviewee, we can do video editing after the mock interview. That's why we're not directly doing live streaming on YouTube or Bilibili, right? We have this intermediate state where we are just live streaming on Zoom, and so that we can edit the video later on. So yeah, but welcome everybody for signing up to be our interviewee. We do have a bunch of amazing interviewers for the rest of the year. We have interviewers from AI startups like Annie, if anyone wants to interview with her. We also have interviewers from big tech companies like LinkedIn, Google, etc. So super welcome anyone to sign up for being the interviewee or the interviewer. And